Hey, good morning, everyone. Let's see, we'll call this episode 30. 30. Good morning, good Monday morning. And we decided to, Brick and I, last night had a discussion, wanted to see how the day would start, and decide whether we were going to have this episode or not. This episode is a little bit more off our typical kind of, random topics, and it's more to do with something relevant right now, which is the financial markets. Now, Brick and I are not licensed traders. We are not advisors of any sort. So please don't listen to this for any kind of specific guidance or advice. But, let me pull my microphone a little bit closer here. But, I do have a commentary on it because I do invest in the markets myself. And I've had a fair amount of what I would call success. Nothing dramatic, nothing earth-shattering. But if you were to multiply it out, it actually would be quite significant, especially considering the 2020 pandemic, where a lot of people were struggling and are still we're struggling to recover from. I was able to experience a return of almost 31% for the year, and so I'm pretty pleased with that. And that comes from, though, something that I think a lot of people don't take into account, which is a few things, and it's nothing. It's nothing scientifically, mysterious, or, I don't have any magical powers. I don't have any insider information. It comes from doing just a basic amount of research on companies. It's kind of like a blend of different methodologies, one of which is the Warren Buffett methodology. Invest in things that you understand. Invest in things that you believe in, that based on the way that they manage their business, will yield the results you're looking for. And then what are you investing for? Are you investing for value? Are you investing for growth? Are you investing for short-term gains? And I know that in the current hi Gary, we're broadcasting right now. Come back later. In the current sort of market conditions, I would say there's a lot of people that are profit taking. So that can freak you out. The advice that I have for myself and for Brick only is that you stay true to the investments that you make. And when they take a dip, you don't get freaked out. You dig in a little bit more and grab the value where it is. The biggest success factor has been holding on to those things. I bought Zoom just shortly after the pandemic hit, and I didn't get a ton of shares, but I got as much as I could afford at the time, and it has returned nearly 200 to 300%. It fluctuates, but within the 200 to 300% range since I bought it. And then there's other stocks that were sort of underdogs. I'll take General Electric, for example. I've known a lot of people, including people that worked at General Electric, that said, let it go, it's gonna die on the vine. And I've held on to it, and it has done nothing, but they have proven that they know how to restructure and rebuild, and they've done so. And so it's now paying off in double-digit percentage growth for me. There's a lot of this stuff going on with Reddit influencing various markets. You know what? All I can say is Wall Street may not like it, but it's capitalism at its finest, guys. Suck it up, Buttercup, because I'll tell you what, you guys would do the same to us. If you were asking for our $100 here, $50 there to invest in these stocks, and you get your commissions, here we are as the common man, common person, common Brick, having an influence on something that is just one giant roulette wheel in the first place. That's the whole thing that I think people really miss the mark on, or at least they don't talk about it in those terms. The stock market, for all its data analytics and all of its market information, it's a big gamble. You just don't know. I mean, this is a perfect example of how you just don't know. And so I would say to you, exercise caution. If you're going to get in, it's going to be scary at first. It's scary to me every day, because it's like, look, 1 minute, the good news is that that, and I have the Robinhood app of all things, which is not a very popular app right now because of the way that they've been managing the limitations of buying stocks and other other funds and so forth on their app. But that aside, it's still a valid and reasonable app to use to trade, and I'm doing it, and I will continue to do it. I do encourage everyone to do your research though, and it doesn't have to go neck deep. You go out and you look at people that have a strong track record. You find out what it is about companies that they're really looking at that make the determination, and they can take the loss. Listen, I bought Delta the same time that Warren Buffett bought Delta. He immediately in the same day turned around and sold his Delta. I chose not to, and I am still experiencing a positive growth return on my Delta stock. Because I believe in Delta. I've been a Delta customer for 100 years. And they have never failed to impress me with their ability to run a business. That's just one solid piece of business. And while I realize that COVID has been a huge impactor to me, it just looked like a bargain. So I took it, and it worked out. But it's one of those things where, I always go in with the expectation that I could lose it, and so I want to make sure. I'm not in there for sweeping out profits, because all of the stocks that I purchase, the ones that pay out dividends, I have them reinvest right back into the same company. And I've thrown out some different stock names here. I just want to make sure everyone's clear on that as well. Those are just my personal picks. Has nothing to do with whether I think you should invest in them or not. I have to be so clear about this because, there's apparently a lot of people that give advice online or it's received as advice, and that is not the case here. I'm just talking about what's going on. The cryptocurrency markets, those are going to be moving all over the place. They already have been. You can see that by how they're being, how would you say it, I guess restricted as well. You can't buy certain cryptocurrencies right now because, they're being heavily influenced by the little guy, by us. So yay us, yay little guys, good job. And at the same time, it's a passing trend. It's here and it's not going to stay. So, you do want to, if you're going to get into anything, get into something that you feel like you're going to either be able to hold on to, or that you feel like you're going to be able to get in and get out swiftly enough and at the right time. And it's all a gamble, pure guessing. You just never know. I bought AMC, by the way, just for fun the other day. I bought like 5 shares, and I bought it at like $16 a share. So it was kind of high at the time, but it was still going up. And something in my gut just said, you know what, this doesn't feel right. So I sold it. I made a profit. And then immediately they shut down any purchasing of AMC shares. So I got out with a little extra money, and I reinvested it in something else. So, this is a wild time that we're living in. It's no different than last year in terms of some of the chaos. It's just different chaos this year. It's not one man with his finger on the Twitter button, right? This year it's it's a whole lot of different things happening at once. And that does not lend to a calm and cool and collective year. I do know that I made, with Brick yesterday, we made the announcement about moving to the business edition, which will not include stock discussions necessarily. It's mostly going to be around leadership and management and things of that nature that we have a lot of experience in. That's going to happen later this week. I've got some things to do to prepare for that. Brick and I have a few items that we need in order to make those episodes crisp, clear, and complete. So bear with us while we go through that, and just hang in there, watch what's going on, and while you're watching, just try to learn a little bit. It's not rocket science, but it is like anything else. It's a big risk. It's like walking out on the street. You just don't know if you're going to get hit by a bus or not. Well, you might win at the stock market today. You might not. Turns out, by the way, I also own a fair amount of silver. Turns out that Reddit users have decided to go into the silver market and flood it with value. So now all of a sudden the silver that I have is worth a lot more, and I have decisions to make. Do I keep it, or do I sell it and take the profit? That decision's has not been made by me yet, and I don't know when I will. And when I do, I'm honestly not going to tell you anyway, because it's not going to matter. It's going to be a one and done deal. And plus, you're not going to have any use for it. It's just a conversation at that point. So anyway, pay attention, observe, try to understand. If you decide you want to get into to these investing spaces, it's definitely worth the exploration, I think. And I think as long as you're okay with the concept of walking away with less than what you started out with, or potentially nothing at all, then you'll be fine. But don't put in your life savings into something if you don't have a clue what it is. That would just be silly. So anyway, Brick and I wanted to talk about that briefly because it's wild. It's on the news everywhere. We're hearing everybody talk about it, and we actually are involved in commodities and stocks. So the only thing that we're not doing, which is another big conversation, is we have chosen to stay out of the options arena, the calls and the puts, the shorting of stocks or the betting that stocks are going to go up. I've done that before, and I've been lucky in a few cases, real lucky in a couple of cases, and then most of them, I would say the larger percent of them are losers. That's not an area of stock trading that I call for the faint of heart. You have to be willing to, whatever you drop in there, be willing to just watch it evaporate. Or see it just absolutely explode. I mean, it can go both ways. I don't mean to, instill any kind of fear, because that's not really it. You might see something or have a better understanding of something than others do. And if you do, I mean, hey, maybe that's your space, but not for us. So anyway, looking forward to the week ahead. A lot to happen. First of all, part of the business edition is I'm not going to be wearing ball caps and NASA sweatshirts. So I need to get a haircut. I need to trim down this giant, grizzly beard I've got going on here. So these are some of the things to get me back into a little bit more of a professional appearance. To some degree, we'll call it business casual. And from there, Brick and I will be on LinkedIn, and we will also be on YouTube. We will have Brick Edition, Chris and Brick Personal Edition, and Chris and Brick Business Edition. So there will be two versions of the show, and I hope you'll enjoy both, and I think you'll get a lot out of the business edition. I'm hoping you're getting a lot out of the personal edition, at least entertainment wise. We like to have fun, and we will talk soon. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you guys a little later.